Merry Christmas and welcome to the third week of Advent. We are praying for you, for your families, and your communities. While Christmas draws closer to you, that you can draw closer to each other.
I can't believe Christmas is almost here. I'm really excited. Well, this third candle of Advent, the shepherd's candle, it reminds us of the people who were able to participate in the birth story of Jesus, the shepherds, who represent us. People with regular jobs, regular routines and responsibilities. We see ourselves in them. In the midst of their ordinary evening on the job, they were drawn into something supernatural, something magical, something that surpasses our wildest expectations for life. Angels filled the sky, proclaiming that the world would never be the same again.
Imagine being visited by an angel at work or at school. How would that change your life? How would you see the world differently? How would you see other people differently? But this can and does happen to us. God shows up in our lives in supernatural ways. It may not be an angel, but He could speak to us through a sermon or a song or a sunset.
A friend calls at just the right moment, or perhaps you're the friend who shows up at the exact time someone needs you. Our relationships can transform us in inexplicable ways. Just ask anyone who's fallen in love, had a baby, watched somebody pass away, or experienced a lasting friendship. Sometimes the supernatural takes a big shape in our lives. It can mean healing, it can mean miracles, and angels appearing in the sky like the shepherds in our story.
But are we open to the supernatural? Do we have eyes to see and ears to hear signs from heaven? God speaks to us openly and directly. Are we ready to receive His message?
You see, the shepherds could have run away. They could have said, "This is weird," or "I'm out of here." Or perhaps after the angelic show was over, they could have thought to themselves, maybe it wasn't all that miraculous after all. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal about this than it really is. Or even if they had believed the message, they could have stayed put in the field. After all, they had a job to do, responsibilities to manage. How could they justify a midnight trip to Bethlehem to find the Christ child?
But they did listen. They did believe. They did go. The supernatural happened in their lives, and they were ready to respond. And when we respond to the supernatural, we are changed. Looking at this story, we can see the ways in which the shepherds were changed through their encounter with the supernatural. Looking at this story, we can see the ways in which the shepherds were changed through their encounter with the supernatural. First, they had a change of emotions. As they embraced the mystery of the moment, their emotions changed from fearful to joyful.
Do you lack joy right now? They say 'tis season to be jolly, right? But some of us can think of a few reasons to feel a little bit less than jolly. Christmas time can put a magnifying glass on the brokenness and the dysfunctions of our own lives and families. Family members who used to get along are now fighting. People who used to be around are not now gone, whether it's because of a divorce, a breakup, or someone passed away. Mistakes and addictions rob us of the carefree attitudes of the past. And when we feel that pull towards fear and stress and grief, it's time to let the supernatural change us. It's time to let God change us.
We need to remember that the good news, the story of the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus is the foundation of joy. If we try to find joy outside of the good news, it will be shallow and passing. Jesus, miraculous, magical, supernatural Jesus, loves us. He accepts us and He forgives us.
And never forget that there is joy to be found in giving these same qualities of Jesus that we can give to other people in our lives. Maybe joy won't be found in the good news you receive, but it can be found in the good news that you give. The shepherds also had a change of self-perception in the way that they saw themselves.
Do you ever feel overlooked? It doesn't matter what age you are. You can be in 7th grade, looking for a study partner or a business partner, just looking for a friend. We all feel overlooked at times, forgotten or insignificant. Sometimes we feel this way even in our own homes. We work hard, we contribute, we reach out for love, and we can feel invisible.
And the shepherds experienced a transformation when they realized that God saw them. He called them. He gave them a purpose. It didn't matter how poor they were. It didn't matter if they were uneducated. It didn't change them through some human affirmation or acknowledgement. Their boss didn't show up on the scene praising them and giving them a Christmas bonus or pay raises. Instead, it was a supernatural, God-inspired moment that created that change.
They went from being excluded to included, invisible to significant, overlooked to invited. And when it comes to the supernatural good news of Jesus, no one is left out. And we can be Jesus to others, where we include and invite.
Where are the invisible people in your family, the ones you would naturally overlook or dismiss? How about in your school or in your workplace, in your community, in your routines? We know that they're there, yet we stop seeing them after a while. How can God use His supernatural work to change self-perception?
The shepherds also had a change of purpose. They didn't stop being shepherds, but shepherding became secondary to their real purpose, telling the story of what happened to them and the miraculous baby they met.
Then their lives became more than just about surviving, more than just paying the bills or doing a job. Their purpose changed from provision to proclamation. Life became an adventure, full of exciting new experiences, and they amazed people with their stories. And then when they moved on to other pastures with their sheep, as they would have, they then had a new purpose, which included sharing the good news that they had experienced.
And through all of this, they had a change of passion. They went from being silent, background figures to being vocal, active participants in the praise of Jesus. They learned to worship differently with their whole hearts and whole beings. And in this week, as you admire the shepherd's candle, you think about the changes the supernatural can bring to your life. A change of emotions from fear to joy.
A change in self-perception from invisible to significant. A change in purpose from provision to now proclamation.
And a change in passion from silent to vocal.
Are you open to the supernatural in your life? Are you ready for change? Are you willing to let God use you as a part of His supernatural work in the lives of others?
We encourage you to spend this next week of Advent reflecting on the shepherd's candle and the change God brings to all of our lives.